Half hour?
Yeah, maybe even quicker.
Okay. So check if it's not okay. You're live.
Testing. Okay. A good night, Shabbos. Today's daf is daf Chof Daled. We're going to begin Chof Gimel by the Mishnah. By way of introduction to the Mishnah, the Gemara in Yevamis says that there are instances in which a woman's testimony that another woman's husband is died is not deemed credible. Now, if there is a chazaka that due to the relationships that two women hate each other, there's a concern that they're going to testify falsely against each other. And by doing so, she can cause the other woman to remarry. And if her original husband proves that he's still living, she's going to be required to now leave her second husband. And it can cause a lot of tzara. So this is what the Gemara in Yevamis says. And we're going to learn in a minute that there's certain instances that we don't believe this person. Okay, so the Mishnah says like this: even though there are women who are not deemed credible to testify on behalf of a woman and say that her husband died, so these people are not believed as an aid to say Meis Bailey, her husband died, and she's permitted to remarry. Nevertheless, she is deemed credible to bring her own divorce. In other words, the relatives of the woman who are not deemed credible to testify that her husband has died are who? Chamaisa, her mother-in-law, Ubas Chamaisa, and her mother-in-law's daughter, Vitzarasa, and her rival wife, another wife of her husband, Yevimta, and her Yevimta, her husband's brother's wife, and Umeis Baila, and Ubas Baila, and her husband's daughter. Okay, so now just to recap the Mishnah says that these are the women that are not believed to say that, even though a woman is not believed to say Meis Baila, because we are worried that she's lying, she is believed to bring her own get, and we're not worried that the get is Mezuyif. Now these are the women that we don't believe, usually is the Chamaisa, Bas Chamaisa, Vitzarasa, V'Yevimta, Ubas Baila, but in regards to bringing the get, they could be a shliach le'alacha to bring the get. And so the Mishnah asks, Uma ben get lemi. So what's the difference between a get and misa? In other words, why by misa don't we believe these people in the get? We do believe. So the Mishnah says is because isha asma mevia as gita, because the woman brings her get. So I skipped the line. Uma ben get lemisa. So he says shaksa mechiach, because the ksav of the get is mechiach that they're saying the truth. So the Mishnah isha asma mevia as gita, a woman can bring the get as long as she says b'fanei nichtav. Fred the Gemara v'atanya. So now the Gemara asks on the first part of the Mishnah, how can the Mishnah say that these women are believed to bring their own get? But we learn just like these ladies are not believed to say that their husband died, so too they're not believed to say to bring the get. So Rabbi S says, like Kash is not a question. Here the Mishnah is referring to a case that took place in Eretz Yisrael. And in Eretz Yisrael they are believed, and outside of Eretz Yisrael they are not believed. And the Gemara explains. Ba'aretz, in the case of Eretz Yisrael, the lab adibur dida kosam chinon, where the get, we do not rely on her own statement. In other words, in Eretz Yisrael, as we said, she does not need to say b'fanei nichtav u'b'fanei nechtav. So she serves only as a shliach. So since we're not relying on her words, so she could bring the get. But b'chutz la'aretz, outside of Eretz Yisrael, da'dibur didea kosam chinon, where we rely on her statement, she has to say b'fanei nichtav u'b'fanei nechtav, and no one can contest the validity of the get after her statement. So the halacha is le'ma'amnon, she is not deemed credible, because we say that the woman may be intentionally lying in order to cause harm. And that's why, according to Rabbi Yosef, chutz la'aretz, and Chutz La'aretz, these people are not believed. So now the Gemara says, Abaya says, Adarab, on the contrary, Ibcha Mestabra, the opposite makes sense. Ba'aretz, in Eretz Yisrael, the Isa Baal Ma'arer, in Eretz Yisrael, where the husband were to come and contest the validity of the get, Mashkechin Bey, we would believe him. Why? So therefore, the Ikal Meimar, the Kakulo Kamechavna. So there you could say that the woman who hates her intends to harm her by having her remarry based on the get that was contested. But Chutzlar, however, in Chutzlar is the Iyasa Baal Ma'ar. If the husband is going to come and be Ma'ar, Lei Mashkechin Bey, we don't pay any attention to him, and therefore Mehemne, she should be deemed credible. So the Gemara Tanya says with Abaya, we learned a brayso like Abaya, Rav Shimon ben Elazar Eimer, Mishum ben Akiva. Isha ne'menes lavigita, a woman is believed to bring her own get. Why? Mikal v'chemer. Mana shem shomer chacham ina manas le'memer b'nais baila. Madach woman, who the chachamim said about these people that they're not believed to say that their husband died. However, ne'manas lavigita, but they are believed to bring their own get. So if she's believed to say mais baila, so for sure she's believed to bring her own get. So the Gemara says, and now from the place that you come, from the place you could say that ma lahalan strichas she'emru b'fanenu nichtav or b'fanenu nechtam, and just like over there, from the place that we learned from Gittin, he has to say it was written in our presence and was signed in our presence. So to afit strichas she'temar, so to in the case over here, she has to say b'fanenu nichtav or b'fanenu nechtam. So in other words, the brayso, if you have to say b'fanei nichtav, the brayso must be referring to a case in which the wife brought the get from outside of Eretz Yisrael. It's only then that she has to then say it was written and signed in my presence. Rashi says, the Mishnah, you can also be precise about Abaya's opinion. The woman herself may bring her own get, as long as she says b'fanei nichtav. We learn from here that the Mishnah is referring to a case of outsiders of Eretz Yisrael, as Abaya explains. So the Gemara of Rabbi S, and according to Rabbi S, you're telling me that the first part of the Mishnah, in other words, in Daf Chof Aleph Amud Aleph, and the last case of the Mishnah, Daf Chof Gimel Amud Beis, is referring to Chutz La'aretz and Mitziusa Ba'aretz, and the middle case of the Mishnah is speaking about Ba'aretz. The Gemara says in Chutz La'aretz, the beginning and the end are talking about when they bring the get from Chutz La'aretz, and Mitziusa, the middle case, that Mishnah is talking about Ba'aretz. The Gemara explains, where does Rabbi Yosef know this? From the fact that it teaches what is the difference between a get and misa. A certain women are deemed credible to testify about one but not the other. So he says, Shaksav mechiach. With regard to the get, it is so that the writing proves that the husband is divorcing his wife. Like Tani in the and the Mishnah does not say Shaksav upem mechiach, that the writing and the statement proves this. Okay, then the Mishnah said, the woman herself may bring a get and say b'fanei nichtav, b'fanei nechtav. So the Gemara says, Isha, when the woman michimata gita liyada yigar shala, the second that the woman receives the get in her hand, she's divorced. So what does it mean? She's a woman, when she brings her own get, she says b'fanei nichtav. The minute that she receives the get, she's already divorced. So the Gemara says, we're talking about a case that he says to his wife, you will be divorced through only you only divorced b'tnai that you presented it to such and such based in. In other words, the get does not take effect only when she receives when she's mekayim b'tnai of going to this based in. So the Gemara says, safe kimatu hasam. So when she goes over there to the based in, so that second she's divorced, even before she says b'fanai. So where it says igarsha. So it's a question. So says kimata hasam. Ultimately, when she arrives there, then the chayra igarsha, she's divorced, as she fulfilled the t'nai of the husband. So why is it necessary for her to bring a get and to testify? So he says, the Amar law. The case is that he said to her, kimatas hasam, when you arrive there, asnei arav b'shikle, place the get on the ground and take it. So in other words, the get does not take effect immediately upon her arrival. She has to actually go to the ground and take the get. So the Gemara says, Ihachi, if so, have a lay. This is the exact case of kli gitach mal gabe karka, when the husband says to the wife, take your get from off the ground, Rava says, it's not considered to have given her a get. Why? Because it's like she's taking the get by herself. So what's the case of the Mishnah? Rather, the Mishnah be explained as follows. We're talking about we're talking about where he said to his wife, you're going to be a shliach le'ilacha to bring your own get until you arrive there. And when you arrive there, then you're going to become a shliach le'kabbalah. And then receive your get as a shliach le'kabbalah. But you have another problem. But the shliach has not returned yet to the Baal. In order to be a shliach le'ilacha, complete shliach le'ilacha, he has to go and be able to go back to the husband. But over here, his title is being changed. But the shliach for deliver. So you have a problem. Again, let me just explain again. But the shliach has not returned to the husband. So it's a problem that the shliach le'ilacha has not returned yet because she's becoming now a shliach le'ilacha. So rather, the Gemara says, the Mishnah is explaining about a case that be a shliach until you arrive there, and when you arrive there, appoint a shliach for receipt on behalf and give him the get. So the Gemara says, this works well according to the opinion that holds that a man can appoint a shliach to receive her get from the hand of the shliach le'ilacha. That a woman could appoint a shliach le'kabbalah to receive the get from the shliach le'ilacha. But according to the opinion that holds that a woman cannot make a shliach le'kabbalah receive the get from the shliach le'ilacha, what's the reason? So the Gemara says, what's the reason that a person, that according to the opinion that holds that a woman cannot appoint a shliach to receive her get from the shliach le'ilacha is mishum de'ika bizayin the Baal, because there is a bizayin of the husband in doing so, because he wishes that the get be directly given to the woman and not the shliach. And here the husband doesn't really care. So this works well according to the opinion that holds that what's the bizayin? The bizayin is mishum bizayin the Baal. But if, according to the opinion that holds, like we explained the other day, that it's the case of the chatzar that comes afterwards, which were worried that the get was put into the chatzar of somebody else, and then it was sold to the woman, which the get would not work. So, according to this opinion, the fact that the husband is not particular does not say that the halacha applies. It doesn't depend on him. So the Gemara answers and says, the Amar Law, according to his opinion, the Mishnah should be explained that the Amar Law, when he said to her, "Have a shliach le'ilacha d'matis hasam, be a shliach le'ilacha until you arrive there. And when you're there, you appoint another shliach to be a shliach le'kabbalah, and receive your get from there." So you're the shliach le'ilacha. When you get there, find another shliach le'kabbalah, give it to the shliach le'kabbalah, and then the shliach le'kabbalah can give it back to the shliach le'ilacha. Then the Gemara says, or you could say, or he says, be a shliach until you get over there. And when you arrive there, say to the Beis Din, it was written in my presence and it was signed in my presence. And then appoint the Beis Din as your shlochim, and they will give the get to you. Hadn aloch, hamevi get. We have now concluded the second perek in Gittin. Now starts the new Mishnah. The Mishnah says, "Kol get shenichta shalei l'shum isha." Any get that was not written for the sake of the specific woman, the Mishnah says, "Puzzle is puzzle." Okay, it's a how so. In a case of a person who was passing through the marketplace and he heard the sounds of seifrim who are writing Gittin, and they are basically seifrim and umakrim means they're dictating to their students what to write. So, what does it say? He's passing by the marketplace and he hears the sound of the seifrim telling their students that write ish pleni megarshas plenius memakom pleni, that this man so and so is divorcing so and so, and v'amar, he says that shmi v'zeh shem ishti, this is the name of me and this is the name of my wife. He wants to use this get. So the Mishnah says pasul l'garshpai, he cannot use this get. Yasser Mikan, the Mishnah says even more so. If he wrote a get which wished to divorce his wife, but then v'nimlach he changed his mind, and then a person in his town found him and said, Shmi kishimcha v'shem ishti kishim ishtacha, my name is the same as your name, your wife's name is the same as my wife's name, posel l'garish bay, he is not allowed to be megarish his wife this way. Then the Mishnah says, Yosem mikain, even more so, if he had two wives and he was married to two ladies who happened to have the same name, and if he had in mind to be megarish the older one, the din is he cannot use that later to be megarish the ktana. Yosem mikain, even more so, Amar lav, if he said to the sefer, save, write a divorce. For whichever one of them I will want and I will divorce. So the halacha is posel l'garish, but he's not allowed to divorce his wife for this. Okay, then the Gemara says, now the second case of the Mishnah, we said that where one wrote a get with which to divorce his wife, but later he changed his mind. And then what happened? A resident of the town with the same names said that your name is like my name, etc. Let's go again, 1 second. So he says that what they're saying is the name of my name and the name of my wife's name. So, and then the Mishnah said that the second case of Kosa the Garsh is Ishte ben Imlech and Matzah ben Irei v'Amr Shmi Kishimcha v'Shem Ishtacha Shem Ishtacha is possible. But according to based on this, the Reisha, the Mishnah, that the person heard the people in the marketplace, the say from saying the nusach of the get, but what are we talking about over here? Obviously, the Seifrim wrote the get for somebody else that wanted to divorce his wife. So, what's the difference between the first case and the second case? So, Rabbi says, "But Seifrim ma'asuin l'Islam daskinan." We're dealing with Seifrim who are practicing writing. The get in the first case was written as an exercise and not because someone requested to be written. It says that Seifrim who are dictating, but it doesn't say Seifrim that are reading. It must be that in the first case they're not even writing the get for anybody. They're just practicing to get better in the halachas of Gittin. So ask the Gemara, what's this expression of moreover? So he says Yosem Mikin means not only in the case where it was not written l'shem gershon, that it's not a get, even in the second case, which was written for shenichta l'shem gershon, which was written for the sake of the divorce, but then the husband changed his mind, pasul will be pasul. The Mishnah says, and not only this, shenichta l'shem gershon didei, which was not written for the sake of his own divorce, but even the third case, it was written for his own divorce, but not that woman. Puzzle is possible. And the fourth case, it wasn't written for this gershon. It was written, in other words, he instructed the sefer to write the get for the sake of whichever wife he decided, also will be puzzle. So now the Gemara says, my time, what's the reason all these cases are puzzles? He says like this. If the Torah would only say, and he gives the get in her hand, so I would say that will come to exclude only the first case, over the Shem Krisus, because over there they were not writing the Shem Krisus. But in a case where he wants to divorce his wife and then he changed his mind, over the Shem Krisus, which over there was done for Krisus, I would say Kasser. So therefore the Torah says, to teach me that, it has to be written Lishma. If the Torah would only say Kasav, I would say, if the Torah would only write V'kasav, I would say that the pasuk comes to exclude this case mentioned before, which the man using the get was not the one who wrote it. But if he has two nashim, the iyu kakasavle, where in that case the man using the get is writing it, I would say it's kosher, that it has to be mamash lishma for that woman. Why do I need to have the sefer? It's obvious. I don't say retroactively, I don't say breda. One does not say that since he gave the get to divorce his wife, we say retroactively that he had written the get for her sake. Rather, you must write it for the sake from the outset. Okay, then the Mishnah says, if he wants to divorce the Gdela, Garshas Aktana. So the Gemara says, Ktana udele matzim megarsh. It's mashma that he cannot be megarsh Aktana. Hagdela matzim megarsh. Or Rabbi says, it teaches us Shnei Yosef and Shimon. If you have Yosef and Shimon, two Yosef and Shimon who live in the same city, a person can present a shtar chayiv claim against others, and the borrower cannot claim that this shtar chayiv was written for the sake of the other Yosef and Shimon. Abai says, but if you look in the Reisha, in the Reisha it says, in the case of when he says, your name is like my name, so he can't be megarshit, so it's mashma sheini hu delay matzi megarshbeit, that he cannot be megarsh the second one. Hadishim matzi megarshbeit. V'hamrina b'yidus avlei acher yachal hitzali in shtar chayv. Elamai ma'isach meimer. Must be that we're talking about Edi Mesira v'Rebbe Lazari. Yachanami b'Edi Mesira v'Rebbe Lazari. Amar Rav says kulon paistim b'kona. In all these cases of divorce, the Mishnah categorizes that it's unfit to use as a divorce. Still, kulon paistim b'kona. The woman is still disqualified for marrying into the kohuna chutz min harishin, except for the first case. Even the first case, when he's doing it lislamid, is also puzzle. Shmuel goes according to this reason. Get puzzle. Anybody who says get puzzle or pesel means that it's invalid and nevertheless disqualifies as well. Chalitza psula pisatam menachin. In the case of chalitza was performed with the left foot, or it was at night, so the din is psulis. These acts of chalitza are invalid, and upaislis, and they nevertheless disqualify the yevama from entering into the yibum.